Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to the AEW Dynamite review. Dynamite tonight was from the Arizona Financial Theater in Phoenix, Arizona, and the show just ended. And Dynamite tonight, I thought it was a decent show, in my opinion. I mean, you did have, a few, mid spots in the show, but overall, it was a decent show. But tonight, we saw the Opps. This is Samoa Joe, Hook, and Katsuyori Shibata. They ended up taking on the Patriarchy and Christian Cage, Kip Sabian, and Nick Wayne. We had a street fight. Powerhouse, Hobbs ended up taking on Big Bill. We had Megan Bayne in action, and she had taken on Kris Statlander from what we saw, last week. That went down when Kris Statlander was having a match against Penelope Ford. And the main event, you had a Revolution International Championship Series. Orange Cassidy. He had taken on Roderick Strong, two former international champions. And this determined who will face Takeshita next week on Dynamite. We also had a face-to-face between MJF and Hangman Page, which this is the hottest feud in AEW right now. But overall, Dynamite tonight, decent show. But before I get into the review, if you guys haven't seen my previous video, I went live with my buddy Noah Kaser. We did episode 4 of the Bell Call podcast, and if you guys haven't checked that out, definitely do. A good hour and 18 minutes that we went live talking about, different, topics of, Raw and SmackDown recap, Seth Rollins possibly having a creative role in WWE, WrestleMania 42 location confirmed. So check out my Bell Call podcast episode with me and my co-host Noah Kaser. So definitely check that out. But anyway, let's jump right into the review. Dynamite opened up tonight with MJF. MJF ended up coming out, and Tony Schiavone on commentary ended up saying that this face-to-face between MJF and Hangman Page has a strict no-touch policy, meaning that MJF and Hangman Page can't touch each other. So Hangman Page ended up making his way out. Security surrounded the ring, of course, for this face-to-face between the both of them. Both MJF and Hangman Page ended up staring each other down. Crowd was behind Page here. So MJF had the mic in hand, and of course, his usual stick where he's making fun of the crowd. So MJF ended up talking about the first pay-per-view event of AEW, and its first match, the Casino Gauntlet, and the fact that he had the match won before he was screwed by Hangman Page. MJF then went to say that he had to scratch and claw his way back to the top, doing so by beating some of the big names that were in the business. So MJF ended up saying that he doesn't remember who he beat for his Dynamite Diamond ring. He was mockingly, saying that. And he ended up remembering that it was Page before he ended up going on to win the Dynamite Diamond ring 6 times. MJF ended up saying that he also main evented the biggest wrestling show of all time inside Wembley Stadium, and that was the longest reigning AEW World Champion of all time. So MJF ended up saying, "Oh, do you know why?" To which the crowd ended up chanting for MJF to shut up. And MJF ended up reminding the crowd that his name is Maxwell Jacob Freeman. And I'm better than you, and you know it. So Paige then got on the mic. He ended up saying that he knows exactly who MJF is. He is a 28-year-old man who is already a decorated wrestler, and yet he can't be happy. Paige was like, oh, is it because there's still something MJF hasn't been able to win from the fans? So this pissed off MJF, and MJF ended up saying that he doesn't care about the fans. He ended up telling the fans to shut up. So MJF ended up saying that he thinks it's laughable when the fans decide morals in this business. So he ended up mocking Hangman Page for being considered the main character after everything he's done over the past couple of years. So MJF then ended up running down a list of things that Page has done, and yet he's the good guy. So MJF mocked the crowd for chanting cowboy shit for their so-called hero. And MJF ended up asking if after everything Page has done, does Page love himself? Did he love himself after ending the career of his mentor, after dismantling Kris Daniels? Which that was a very good match that Page and Kris Daniels ended up having, with Page bloodying up Kris Daniels. So MJF ended up insulting Kris Daniels, which enraged Hangman Page. Page ended up saying that Kris Daniels is 10 times the man MJF is. Page ended up talking about what Kris Daniels gave for this business, saying that Kris Daniels knows he wouldn't have it any other way. Page ended up calling Kris Daniels the best of us, recognizing everything he has done for the business. So Page ended up saying that MJF doesn't understand that type of selflessness. He ended up saying that if your career ended tonight, and if you don't wipe that grin off, it might, if your career ended tonight, what would people say about you? Page ended up saying that MJF would be called a coward by those who talk about him, before answering why the people still care about him. And Page ended up saying that he doesn't want to be arrogant enough to fully understand, but he can speak for himself. He ended up saying that he knows right from wrong, and isn't afraid to speak up about it. Page ended up saying that he's not afraid to stand up for what's right, seeing it eye to eye. He then went on to say that he's worked hard for everything he's accomplished, whereas MJF has had to cheat for the past 5 years for everything he's done. Page ended up going on to say that he wonders if MJF truly believes he's better than everyone else. But Page ended up saying that he doesn't think so, and he thinks that deep down, and MJF knows that too. To which MJF ended up laughing at Page. MJF was like to Page, "Are you a child?" He ended up insisting the history books don't care how he succeeded. MJF ended up talking about the powers that be propping Page up to be the golden boy of the company before it even opened its doors, giving him everything he needed. And MJF ended up saying that all he had was a scarf and a mic. MJF ended up insisting that Page has earned nothing. He then ended up asking Page to name one thing that makes him better than him. Page then responded by saying that he's real. So Page ended up dropping the mic. MJF ended up saying that he can be the hero all he wants, and he has no problem being the bad guy. So MJF and Page end up getting nose to nose as security end up hopping onto the apron. We had both MJF and Page end up nearly coming to blows. MJF simply backed up with his hands up. He turned his back to Hangman Page to see if Page would try to blindside him. So when Page didn't, blindside MJF, MJF then spat at Page. And this caused Page to rush at MJF, which that led to security pulling Page away as MJF ended up retreating out of the ring, up the ramp to the stage. So Page then took his frustration out on the security, but he ended up stopping himself because he ended up stopping short of laying out Christopher Daniels in the ring. So Christopher Daniels was in there. Christopher Daniels was telling Hangman that this is what he was hoping for, that Page knows who he is. So Page ended up leaving the ring, and Christopher Daniels ended up relieving security of their duty, and pretty much that was basically that. But overall, this was a good segment to open Dynamite here. You know, this is the hottest feud going on in AEW right now between MJF and Hangman and Page. I'm liking what they are doing. This is going to be, very good between MJF and Page here. So let's hope that, keeps going forward and, they don't screw this up. It has, a lot of goodness here. So then we had Roderick Strong. Roderick Strong was backstage, and he was asked for his thoughts ahead of facing Orange Cassidy. He was interviewed by Renee Paquette, and Roderick Strong ended up saying that despite being friends with Kyle O'Reilly, he is ready to beat the fellow former champion to move on to Revolution. Kyle O'Reilly ended up calling Orange Cassidy his boy, but he ended up saying that Roderick Strong is going to break that back. And Adam Cole ended up saying that a win for Roderick Strong is undisputed. There you go. That was basically what the Undisputed Kingdom had to say. And then we had our first match of the night. The Opps, the Samoa Joe, Katsuyori Shibata, and also Hook. They ended up taking on the Patriarchy, Christian Cage, Kip Sabian, and Nick Wayne. And this was a decent match here. The match started off with Shibata and Kip Sabian. They started trading holds. Shibata ended up taking Kip Sabian down to the canvas. Kip Sabian ended up taking control of the match as he ended up sending Shibata into the ropes. But Shibata started fighting back with a knee to Kip Sabian's gut. Shibata ended up making the tag to Samoa Joe. So Samoa Joe and Shibata were trading chops against Kip Sabian's chest. Joe then delivered a senton to Sabian. Sabian then ended up tagging in Nick Wayne. Shibata and Joe ended up delivering some chops to Nick Wayne. Joe then stared down at Christian Cage. Christian Cage then tagged in, and he was in the ring with Samoa Joe, but Christian Cage wanted nothing to do with Joe, so he tagged right back out to Nick Wayne. And this led to more, chops from Nick Wayne from Joe. So we had Nick Wayne end up taking several more chops as we had the Opps trading tags. It led to Hook, taking down Nick Wayne. Hook ended up setting Nick Wayne up as he tagged in Shibata. Nick Wayne started to fight back, and he took control of the match, working on Shibata. So then Dynamite went to commercial. Then when Dynamite came back from the commercial, the Opps were in control of the match. Shibata continued to go after Nick Wayne. Kip Sabian ended up getting the tag to wear Shibata down. Shibata then made the tag to Hook. Hook ended up sending Christian Cage out of the ring. And then he went back to work on Nick Wayne. We had Hook end up getting a near fall on Nick Wayne, to which Nick Wayne kicked out. Joe then ended up sending Christian Cage out of the ring for a dive. Nick Wayne and Hook were back in the ring. Nick Wayne had Hook set up for the Wayne's World. Party time! Excellent! But he ended up getting trapped in the Red Room by Hook. So as Hook had Nick Wayne trapped in the Red Room, Samoa Joe kept Christian Cage from getting back into the ring. Christian Cage had nowhere to go because Samoa Joe was keeping him out. So this led to Nick Wayne tapping out. So there you go. The Opps ended up winning the match. But overall, this was a decent match here between the Opps and the Patriarchy. Of course, some people will find the Opps AEW's version of the Shield. That's what people are saying. Like I said, decent match. And we also got a confirmation after the match that at Revolution, it's going to be MJF versus Hangman Page. So definitely looking forward to that match. Hopefully Revolution will be a decent show. And then as Dynamite came back from the commercial, we saw Renee Paquette. Renee Paquette was backstage with Chris Jericho, the Ring of Honor World Champion. Renee ended up asking Jericho if he accomplished what he wanted by being pinned. So Jericho didn't appreciate that from Renee. He ended up talking about how he could get Renee fired. He then talked about his accomplishments for, the millionth time, as, we always hear from Jericho. So Jericho ended up running down Bandito. And then he congratulated Bandito on pinning him last weekend. So Jericho offers Bandito a shot at the Ring of Honor World Championship this Saturday on AEW Collision. Jericho ended up saying that the bounty is out the window here. So he ripped up the bounty poster of Bandito, and he promised to make people treat Chris Jericho more seriously. So pretty much that was basically that. So Jericho offers Bandito a shot at the Ring of Honor World Championship. So obviously Jericho is going to retain. Won't be surprised there. And then we had Powerhouse Hobbs. He ended up taking on Big Bill. This was a street fight, and this was, in my opinion, the best match of the night. This was a very physical match between Hobbs and Big Bill here. So the match got underway. We had Hobbs and Big Bill end up brawling. It spilled into the crowd, and Hobbs ended up getting the upper hand on Big Bill. Hobbs brought Bill back to ringside and attacked him on the barricade. Bill started fighting back with a mixer and a keyboard that took Hobbs down. So Big Bill ended up going to the ring. He retrieved a wrench from underneath the ring. And Powerhouse Hobbs ended up avoiding that hit from being hit with a wrench by Big Bill. So Hobbs ended up fighting back. He had a steel chair in hand, and he slammed the chair over Big Bill's back. Big Bill came back and connected with the wrench to Hobbs' head. This led Hobbs to bleed. So we had the crowd now chanting, "We want tables." Of course, they got to chant that because they want their table spot. Bill ended up telling them what he thinks of their demands. And he ended up going for the ring steps. So he ended up charging at Hobbs with a big boot to his face. He then brought Hobbs over to the steps for a Uranagi, which sent Hobbs crashing on top of the steps with a thud. So then Dynamite went to commercial. Then when Dynamite came back from the commercial, Big Bill came into the ring. He propped up a table in the corner. Hobbs ended up getting up, and he picked up a trash can. He ended up slamming the trash can at Bill. So Bill was down. Hobbs then dropped the trash can. He hoisted Bill up. and Brian Keith got involved. Brian Keith came into the ring with a steel chair. Hobbs ended up sending Brian Keith through the table with a choke slam, but that distraction allowed Big Bill to send Hobbs out of the ring to the ramp. So Hobbs ended up delivering a body slam to Big Bill. So Hobbs then turned his attention to a backpack. A backpack was shown earlier, and he ended up slamming Big Bill with that backpack. And it was revealed that inside the backpack were bricks. And I gotta say, the bricks looked like sponges. They looked very cheap. You could tell when he ended up dumping the bricks out of the backpack. So Big Bill tried to get to his feet. He was taken back down by Hobbs with a punch. Hobbs continued his beatdown on Big Bill. Bill got back to his feet. He was trading strikes with Hobbs. Hobbs ended up taking control. He brought Bill over to a set of steps, and he slammed his head over and over on the steps. So this led Hobbs to bring Bill to his feet. He lifted Bill up, and he ended up sending Bill through a table with a barbed wire board on top. So Bill was down, and Aubrey Edwards, who was the ref, she ended up making the 10 count. She called for the bell because Big Bill was unable to get out of that barbed wire board, on the table. So Hobbs ended up winning the match. But overall, this was a very good match. This was, in my opinion, the best match of the night. Hobbs and Big Bill had good chemistry here, and the crowd was really into this match. And then we heard from Brian Cage and Lance Archer. Both Brian Cage and Lance Archer end up making a statement towards the Hurt Syndicate. So they end up challenging the Hurt Syndicate to a match this Saturday on Collision. So we're going to get the Hurt Syndicate versus Brian Cage and Lance Archer this Saturday, to which Collision is taped for Saturday, because tonight's Dynamite, they were doing a taping of Collision, at the same time, I guess, after when Dynamite ended. So, yeah, we're getting a tape Dynamite for a tape Collision for Saturday. So then we went back to Justin Roberts, the Dappy Yapper. He was in the ring, and he made the announcement that Double or Nothing, it will be in Phoenix this year. There you go. Double or Nothing is going to be in Phoenix in May. So yeah, they'll be coming back in 3 months to Phoenix. And then we had Timeless Toni Storm, the new AEW Women's World Champion. She ended up defeating Mariah May at Grand Slam Australia. So she was accompanied by Luther. Timeless Toni Storm ended up talking about Mariah May being the woman from hell, stealing everything from her. She ended up saying that she is proud of beating Mariah May with the biggest package you've ever seen. Of course, we had Timeless Toni Storm end up doing a package pinfall on Mariah May at Grand Slam Australia that led her to winning the Women's World Championship. Did not watch Grand Slam Australia, but I've seen clips of it. So Timeless Toni Storm ended up promoting the film that she's going to be in, Queen of the Ring, which I am looking forward to. It's going to have Emily Beth Rickards from Arrow. She played Felicity in Arrow, which, I'm looking forward to that film. So, Timeless Toni Storm ended up issuing a challenge to any woman who wants a shot at her AEW Women's World Championship. And she even mentioned Wendy Richter. She kept saying, God is a woman, and her name is Timeless. And what I really liked about this promo from Timeless Toni Storm is that she stood in the ring as spotlight was on her. There was a good, eagle eye shot where you saw the spotlight on Timeless Toni Storm. Nice camera shot, that was done on her. But yeah, overall, pretty good promo from Timeless Toni Storm here. And then we got a video package of Gabe Kidd. And he is coming to Collision this Saturday. Haven't seen any of Gabe Kidd's matches. I know he competed in New Japan. So, really, I'm looking forward to seeing what Gabe Kidd does. And then, as Dynamite came back from the commercial, Will Nightingale was backstage with Renee Paquette. Will Nightingale ended up talking about the Death Riders attacking her last week. And Maria Shafir, once again, blindsided Will Nightingale. So, Maria Shafir and Jon Moxley end up forcing the camera guy to follow them out to the ring. Claudio Castagnoli and Wheeler Yuta end up joining them. Moxley then grabbed the mic. Moxley ended up saying that as champion, this is his arena and his ring, and no one is going to issue a challenge to him like there's somebody. Well, they want to issue a challenge because the World Championship is being hostage by you. So Moxley ended up talking about Adam Copeland, challenging him for the World Championship at Revolution. He kept saying that he nearly popped the Rated R Superstar's head off, and that if Copeland shows up at Revolution, he'll finish the job. So this brought out Jay White. Jay White headed down the ramp, and he was then stalked by Pac. So we had Copeland, or Cope as they would call him, end up sliding into the ring from the crowd. This led to a brawl with them. So we had Copeland end up bringing Spike into the ring, which that led Moxley and Maria Shafir and the rest of the Death Riders to retreat out of the ring. Cope was chasing down Moxley, and he was trying to find Moxley in the crowd. So Copeland had a mic in hand as he was in the crowd, and Copeland ended up letting Moxley know that these people are not Moxley's, but they're his. They're Copeland's. Copeland ended up calling Moxley a coward. He ended up promising to take out Moxley's goon squad one by one before he faces Moxley at Revolution. And pretty much that was basically how the segment ended. But overall, I thought this was a very meh segment here. And, a little bit iffy about, this Moxley Copeland match at Revolution. But overall, like I said, meh segment. And then we have Renee Paquette. She was backstage. She was interviewing Mercedes Moné as we all rolled our eyes. Every time when Mercedes is shown on TV, we all have to roll our eyes because it's the same promo she delivers. She's like, Phoenix, say hello to your CEO. It's the same fucking shit from her. She ended up talking about beating Harley Cameron at Grand Slam Australia, which I knew she was going to defeat Harley Cameron. So we got played a interview from Grand Slam Australia with Momo Watanabe. And I'm like, who is Momo Watanabe? So we had the interview from Lexi Nair with Momo Watanabe. Momo won the International Women's Grand Prix at Wrestle Dynasty. And Momo ended up making it known that she wants to challenge Mercedes Moné for the TBS Championship. So after that interview was done, Mercedes was not pleased by that. She had to tell Momo to come to Dynamite and tell that to her face. Basically, I don't care. I don't give a shit. I don't. Momo versus Mercedes, we all know that Mercedes is going to retain. And then we had Kris Statlander versus Megan Bayne. This all came into play last week when Megan Bayne ended up taking out Kris Statlander after Kris Statlander ended up winning her match against Penelope Ford. And this was a solid women's match here. Megan Bayne is just very good in the ring. She has potential. And really like, her in-ring work. So the match got underway. We had Statlander and Bayne end up staring each other down. Statlander was then taken down by Bayne. We had Bayne end up going for the cover on Statlander, to which Statlander kicked out. Statlander fought back. She ended up sending Bayne into the corner with some punches. Bayne then caught Statlander. Statlander ended up heading to the opposite corner. She ended up delivering a shoulder tackle, but she then got laid out with a spear by Megan Bayne. Nice spear that was done by Megan Bayne to Statlander, which Statlander sold that. So then Dynamite went to commercial. Then when Dynamite came back from the commercial, Statlander was in control of the match. She ended up sending Megan Bayne down with a kick. She ended up going for the cover, to which Bayne ended up kicking out. So Megan Bayne ended up sending Kris Statlander to the apron. She was laying some shots to Statlander. Statlander ended up dropping Bayne onto the apron. So Bayne started to fight back at Statlander. She ended up poisoning Statlander into the ring with a German suplex. And then she ended up sending Statlander to the corner. So Bayne was pushed away by Statlander. The ref ended up checking on Megan Bayne. And that's when Penelope Ford ended up coming out. And Penelope Ford ended up dropping Statlander off the turnbuckle. And this allowed Megan Bayne to pick up the win. So there you go. Megan Bayne ended up winning the match with assistance from Penelope Ford. Post-match, Penelope Ford ended up going after Statlander. Megan Bayne ended up joining in for a bit. Thunder Rosa then ended up coming down to the ring with a steel chair to make the save. And that sent Penelope Ford and Megan Bayne up the ramp. And pretty much that was basically that. Overall, solid match from Statlander and Megan Bayne. Megan Bayne, like I said, she's just very good in the ring. And she has the potential to have a big push. And then we heard from Max Caster. Of course, he's doing another open challenge. He wants that 0-3. So he issues another open challenge for Collision on Saturday, promising the win. Yeah. It's going to be 0-3 for Max Caster. And then we had Ricochet. Oh, God. Yeah, he came out to the ring. He ended up getting booed from the crowd. Ricochet ended up running down the Phoenix crowd. He ended up saying that he'll talk directly to the people watching from home. He ended up talking about the difference between winners and losers. He ended up insisting that he is a winner after he beat Swerve in the middle of the ring. He ended up addressing him wearing the embassy robe and how it matters less than wearing championships. He ended up saying that's where his sights are set in 2025. He had promised that he will be a champion this year, but he's too good looking not to be. He was like, I'm like, what a nerd. Him going like, and then Swerve's music ended up hitting. But we did not get Swerve. We got Prince Nana. Prince Nana ended up coming out. He got into the ring. Prince Nana ended up saying to Ricochet that he asked Swerve to stay home so he could talk to him one-on-one. He ended up saying that Ricochet is wearing something that doesn't belong to him. Prince Nana ended up saying that he's been in this business for 30 years, and that embassy robe has a lot to do with it. He ended up telling Ricochet that the robe presents pride and integrity. So Prince Nana ended up saying that he's walked through and those we've lost. So Nana ended up saying that one thing about that robe is anyone wearing it does so with honor, and they have to earn the opportunity to do so. And Prince Nana ended up saying that he never gave Ricochet that opportunity. So Prince Nana ended up saying to Ricochet that if he wants to prove that he's the winner, he says he is, all Ricochet has to do is give the robe back. To which Ricochet was like, take it. So, Ricochet was like, he put his face out for Prince Nana to possibly punch it. So he's like, take it. So Prince Nana was hesitant to try to take it. And then Ricochet ended up mocking Prince Nana. He kept saying that he's not giving back the robe. And of course he laid out his ah-ha! And then he dropped the mic and left the ring. This segment was awful. Absolutely awful. Ricochet, they're making him act like a fucking nerd. Yeah, I said this before. When you have Ricochet going, ah-ha! It does not make me take him serious as a heel. It doesn't. It just makes Ricochet look like a complete joke. I don't see anybody who likes this interpretation of Ricochet. Main event. Revolution International Championship Series match. Orange Cassidy versus Roderick Strong. This was a very mid-main event here. And I'm like, at the end of the match, I'm like, they already gave away who was going to win the match for next week. So the match got underway. We have Cassidy and Roderick Strong, two former international champions. Both men ended up locking up. They started trading holds. We had Cassidy ended up taking Roderick Strong down as he ended up leaving the ring. Cassidy ended up getting a hug from Kyle O'Reilly, which that put Adam Cole in a sour mood. Cassidy ended up getting back into the ring, which he was only to be taken down by Strong. Strong then left the ring, and he ended up hugging Adam Cole. Strong got back into the ring. Cassidy ended up fighting back. He ended up getting one more hugging from Kyle O'Reilly, as he was then taken down to the canvas by Strong. So Strong ended up getting Cassidy into a abdominal stretch, and then Dynamite went to commercial. Then when Dynamite came back from the commercial, Cassidy took control of the match. He ended up delivering a DDT to Roderick Strong. Strong started to fight back. Cassidy ended up putting his hands in his pockets. He set up for a run and drop kick. Strong ended up trying to go after Cassidy in the corner, but he was sent into the turnbuckle as Cassidy ended up going for another DDT to Strong. So Cassidy was going for the DDT, and then the Stun Dog Millionaire, which got countered by Strong, but Cassidy ended up managing to catch Strong with a DDT. So Cassidy ended up going for the cover on Strong. Strong ended up kicking out. So at the end of the match, we had Orange Cassidy end up delivering the Orange Punch to Roderick Strong. He went for the cover, and there you go. Orange Cassidy ended up winning the match. So next week, Orange Cassidy will face Konosuke Takeshita for the International Championship, with the winner facing Kenny Omega at Revolution. You already know who is going to win for next week. Takeshita is going to beat Orange Cassidy, and at Revolution, it's going to be Takeshita versus Kenny Omega. There you go. Post-match, Tony Schiavone was in the ring. He was trying to get a few words from Orange Cassidy, but Cassidy got cut off by the Don Callis family. Don Callis ended up coming out. He started running down Orange Cassidy on the mic. Takeshita and Mark Davis end up beating down on Cassidy, which this led to Kenny Omega running down. So Kenny Omega came out. The Don Callis family ended up getting out of there. We had Cassidy ended up taking Takeshita down with the Stun Dog Millionaire. And pretty much that was basically that. And that was how Dynamite went off the air. So, AEW already told you the winner for next week's match on Dynamite with Cassidy and Takeshita. So when that match happens next week, not gonna care. But overall, Dynamite, decent show it was tonight. But anyway, that's it for the AEW Dynamite review. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this review. Definitely give the video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe. Be sure to check out episode 4 of the Bell Call podcast that I did earlier tonight. And there will be no SmackDown review on Friday. So, not going to, review it because I'll be out. So, until next video, I'll see you all later.